Hello dear students, today we are going to start 7th lesson of Moments book, The Last Leaf. This is a story of two girls, namely Johnsy and Sue. Now the story is set in the autumn season. The wind is blowing hard and it is raining heavily. So all the leaves on an ivy creeper have fallen except one. So why doesn't the leaf fall? Let us see in the lesson. Sue and Johnsy, two young artists, shared a small flat. The flat was on the third story of an old house. Now, as I told you, this is a story of two girls, that is Sue and Johnsy. These are two young artists and they live in a small flat. They live together, they share a small flat, and the flat was on the third story of an old house. Johnsy fell very seriously ill in November. She had pneumonia. So now Johnsy, she was very ill in the month of November. Her illness was due to pneumonia. She was suffering from pneumonia. She would lie in her bed without moving, just gazing out of the window. So what was her daily routine? To lie in her bed without moving. She lied motionless and just she gazed out of the window. She stared out of the window. Sue, her friend, became very worried. She sent for doctor. Now Sue, who was Johnsey's friend, she was very worried about Johnsey. And so she consulted a doctor. Although he came every day, there was no change in Johnsey's condition. Now doctor came every day to treat Johnsey, but there was no improvement in her condition. One day, the doctor took Sue aside and asked her, "Is anything worrying Johnsey?" So one day what happened? A doctor saw that there is no change in her condition. So he took Sue aside and asked whether there was something which was worrying Johnsey. No, replied Sue, but why do you ask? So Sue replied that no, there is nothing like that. And then she further asked, why are you asking such type of question? The doctor said, Johnsy, it seems, has made up her mind that she is not going to get well. If she doesn't want to live, medicines will not help her. So now doctor said that Johnsy, she doesn't have any will to live. She has lost all her hope to live. And so if she doesn't have any will to live, then medicines will not work. So see, a person should have will. Where there is a will, there is a way. So if you have strong will, nothing is impossible. But here Johnsy did not have will to live, and because of this the medicine was not working on her. Sue tried her best to make Johnsy take an interest in things around her. She talked about clothes and fashions, but Johnsy did not respond. So Sue, Johnson's friend, she tried to make Johnsy to take interest in her surroundings. She tried to divert her mind. She talked about clothes, fashion, and other things. But Johnsy, she did not react. Johnsy continued to lie still on her bed. Sue brought her drawing board into Johnson's room and started painting. But Johnson, she still continued to be in a bed without moving and just gazing out of the window. So now Sue, who was worried about her friend, so now what she did, she brought her drawing board into Johnson's room and she started painting there in her room. To take Johnson's mind off her illness, she whistled while working. Now, as she wanted to divert her mind, as Johnson was just thinking about her illness, Sue wanted to bring her out of that, and so she used to whistle while working, while painting. Suddenly, she heard Johnson whisper something. She quickly rushed to the bed and heard Johnson counting backwards. So suddenly what happened? Sue heard Johnson whispering something. Whispering means saying very softly. So she was not able to hear it, as it was not clear, it was not loud. So she went near her and she heard that Johnson was counting backwards. She was counting the numbers backwards. She was looking out of the window and was saying 12. After some time she whispered 11, then 10, then 9, 8, 7. So now she started counting backward, 12, 11, 9, 10, 8, 7 and so on. So now Sue, she anxiously looked out of the window. She saw an old ivy creeper climbing halfway up the brick wall opposite their window. Now, when Sue noticed Johnson looking out and counting backwards, she was anxious to know. So she looked out of the window. So when she looked out of the window, she saw an old ivy creeper which was climbing halfway up the brick wall opposite their window. Opposite their window, there was a brick wall, and the ivy creeper was climbing halfway on that brick wall. In the strong wind outside, the creeper was shedding its leaves. So the strong wind was blowing and the creeper was shedding its leaves. You know, as earlier it is mentioned that it is autumn, and in autumn trees do shed their leaves, isn't it? So this creeper was also shedding its leaves. "What is it, dear?" Sue asked. "6," whispered Johnson. "They are falling faster now. 3 days ago, there were almost 100 leaves. There are only 5 left now." So Sue asked her, "What is it? Why are you counting backwards?" Then she again started counting backward, 6. And then she said that the leaves are falling faster. And before 3 days, there were almost 100 leaves on that trees. And now only 5 were left. "It is autumn," said Sue, "and the leaves will fall." So Sue reminded her that it was autumn season, and during this season the leaves fall. "When the last leaf falls, I will die," said Johnson with finality. "I have known this for the last 3 days." So Johnson says that when this last leaf will fall down, I will die. And she was very sure that after the falling of last leaf, she will die. And she had known that for last 3 days, means since last days she was thinking the same thing, that when the last leaf will fall, she will die. "Oh, that's nonsense," replied Sue. "What have old ivy leaves to do with your getting well?" The doctor is confident that you will get better. So Sue said to her that it was nonsense. There was nothing like that. The ivy leaves have nothing to do with your getting well. And she also said that the doctor is confident that you will get better. Now here Johnsy has related her life with the falling of leaves, but Sue tries to explain her that nothing is going to happen like that, and the doctor is sure that you will get better. Johnsy did not say anything. Sue went and brought her a bowl of soup, but Johnsy did not say anything. So Sue went and she brought a bowl of soup for Johnsy. I don't want any soup, said Johnsy. I'm not hungry. Now there are only 4 leaves left. I want to see the last one fall before it gets dark. Then I'll sleep forever. So when Sue tried to give her soup, Johnsy said that she was not hungry and she did not want any soup. And now again she gazed out of the window. There were only 4 leaves left and she wanted to see the last leaf fall before it gets dark, means before it was night, and so that she could sleep forever. Sue sat on Johnsy's bed, kissed her and said, You are not going to die. I can't draw the curtain for I need the light. I want to finish the painting and get some money for us. So Sue, when she heard, she felt very sorry for her. She was emotional. So she sat on Johnsy's bed and kissed her and she said that you are not going to die. She tried to motivate her, and she also said that she cannot draw the curtains because she needed light to finish her painting. Now she was trying to paint to get some money for them. Please, my dear friend, she begged Johnsy, promise not to look out of the window while I paint. So Sue requested Johnsy to promise her that she won't see out of the window until she finishes her painting. All right, said Johnsy, finish your painting soon, for I want to see the last leaf fall. I am tired of waiting. I have to die. So let me go away peacefully like one of those poor tired leaves. So Johnsy agreed that she will not see out of the window until she completes her painting. But she told her to complete her painting earlier so that she could see the last leaf fall because she was tired and now she had no hope to live. She wanted to die peacefully like that tired leaves. Try to sleep, said Sue. I have to paint an old miner. I will call Behrman up to be my model. So Sue told Johnsy to try to sleep, and she said that she had to paint an old miner, and so for that purpose she needed a model. So she wanted to call Behrman as her model of an old miner. Sue rushed down. Behrman lived on the ground floor. So Sue immediately went down. Behrman, he lived in the same old house on the ground floor. He was a 60-year-old painter. His lifelong dream was to paint a masterpiece, but that had remained a dream. So now Behrman, he was a 60-year-old painter, and his lifelong dream was to create a masterpiece, to paint a masterpiece, but he was not successful in it. It remained a dream for him. Sue poured out her worries to Behrman. She told him how Johnsy was convinced that she would die when the last leaf fell. So now Sue, she told about Johnsy to the old painter. She said that she has made up of her mind that when the last leaf falls, she would die. Is she stupid? Asked Behrman. How can she be so foolish? She is running a high temperature, complained Sue. She refuses to eat or drink, and that worries me a lot. So, when Behrman hears that Sue has lost the hope to live at that time, he calls her stupid and foolish. So Sue tells Behrman that Johnsy has high temperature and she does not eat or drink anything, and that was the reason for her worry. So if she would not eat, she would not get better. So she was worried. So Sue was worried. I will come with you and see Johnsy, Behrman said. So Behrman was also concerned about Johnsy, so he said that he would go up with her and see Johnsy. They tiptoed into the room. Johnsy was sleeping. Sue drew the curtain together and they went to the next room. So when they went up in Johnsy's room, they found Johnsy sleeping. So Sue, she drew the curtain close together and they went in the another room to work. As Johnsy was sleeping, they did not want to disturb her, so they went to the another room. She peeped out through the window. There was only one leaf on the creeper. It was raining heavily and an icy cold wind was blowing. So now Sue peeped out of the window. She saw out of the window there was only one leaf left, and that day it was raining very heavily and also the cold wind was blowing. It seemed as though the leaf would fall any minute now. And so, as there was a heavy rain and strong wind, it seemed that the leaf would fall any moment. Behrman did not say a word. He went back to his work. So after seeing that, Behrman, he did not say anything. Just he left the room and he went to his room. Johnsy woke up next morning. In a feeble voice, she asked Sue to draw the curtains. So Johnsy, she woke up next morning. Whole night she was sleeping, and when she woke up in the morning, she asked Sue in a very weak voice to draw the curtains. Sue was nervous. She drew back the curtains very reluctantly. Now Sue was nervous because she knew that last night there was heavy rain and wind. So she also thought that the last leaf must has fallen. So now she was nervous. She was not willing to open the curtain, but unwillingly she opened. Reluctantly means unwillingly. Unwillingly she drew the curtains. Oh, Sue exclaimed as she looked at the vine creeper. Look, there is still one leaf on the creeper. So when Sue saw the leaf, she was surprised, and she told that, look, there is still one leaf on the creeper. It looks quite green and healthy in spite of the storm and the fierce winds. It didn't fall. So the leaf looked green and healthy, and in spite of the storm and the fierce winds, the leaf didn't fall. So can you guess why the leaf didn't fall? Let's see. I heard the wind last night, said Johnsy. I thought it would have fallen. It will surely fall today, then I'll die. So Johnsy said that she heard the wind last night and she thought that the leaf would fall, but it did not and so now she hopes that the leaf was going to fall that day and then she would die. "You won't die," said Sue energetically. "You have to live for your friends. What would happen to me if you die?" Sue told Johnsy that she won't die. Now Sue was very energetic and she said that she has to live for her friends, and she also told that what would happen if she would die. Johnsy smiled weakly and closed her eyes. After every hour or so, she would look out of the window and find the leaf still there. It seemed to be clinging to the creeper. So now, when Sue told her that she has to leave for her friends, Johnsy just smiled very weakly and she closed her eyes. So, after every 1 hour or so, she used to see out of the window and she found that the last leaf was still clinging to the creeper. It was still holding and hanging on the creeper. In the evening, there was another storm, but the leaf did not fall. Johnsy lay for a long time looking at the leaf. Then she called out to Sue. So, again that evening, what happened? Another storm started blowing, but the leaf was intact, it did not fall. So, Johnsy, she was looking at the leaf for a long time, and then she called Sue. "I have been a bad girl. You have looked after me so lovingly, and I have not cooperated with you. I have been depressed and gloomy." So now Johnsy says that she had been a bad girl because she wanted to die. So according to her, it was not good. So she looked after Johnsy. She took care of her lovingly, but Johnsy was not ready to cooperate. She was not ready to eat or drink anything. She was not ready. She did not have will to live, and because she was very depressed and sad. "The last leaf has shown me how wicked I have been, and I have realized that it is a sin to want to die." So now here she is being motivated. She says that the last leaf has shown her that how wicked she was, and she says that it is a sin to want to die. She hugged Johnsy, then she gave her lots of hot soup and a mirror. So now Sue was very happy that Johnsy had a will to live. So she hugged Johnsy, then she gave her soup, and also she gave her a mirror. Johnsy combed her hair and smiled brightly. So looking into the mirror, she combed her hair and she smiled brightly. She had a very bright smile on her face. In the afternoon, the doctor came. After examining his patient, he told Sue, "Johnsy now has the will to live. I am confident she will recover soon." So that in the afternoon, the doctor came to visit, and when he checked the patient, when he examined Johnsy, he noticed the change in her. Now he understood that she had a will to live, and now he was very confident that she would recover soon from her illness. "Now I must go downstairs and see Behrman. He is also suffering from pneumonia, but I am afraid there is no hope for him." So doctor said to Sue that he had to go down. He had to examine Behrman because he was also suffering from pneumonia, but there was no hope of Behrman getting better. The next day, Sue came and sat on Johnsy's bed. Taking Johnson's hand in hers, she said, I have something to tell you. So now next morning, Sue came and she sat on Johnson's bed. She took Johnson's hand in her hand and she said that she wanted to say something to her. Mr. Behrman died of pneumonia this morning. He was ill for only 2 days. So she told Johnsy that Mr. Behrman, he died because of pneumonia and he was ill only for 2 days. The first day, the janitor found him on his bed. His clothes and shoes were wet and he was shivering. So first day when he fell ill, janitor he found him on the bed. Janitor means a person who looks after the building. So he found Behrman on his bed. At that time his clothes and shoes were wet and he was shivering. He was trembling due to cold. He had been out in that stormy night. Now why his clothes and shoes were wet? Why was he shivering? Because at that night he was out in that stormy night. Then they found a ladder and a lantern still lighted lying near his bed. Then they also found one ladder and one lantern which was still lighted and it was lying near his bed. There were also some brushes and green and yellow paints on the floor near the ladder. So near the ladder there were paint brushes and green and yellow color paints on the floor. Johnsy dear, said Sue, look out of the window. Look at the ivy leaf. Haven't you wondered why it doesn't flutter when the wind blows? So now Sue told Johnsy to look out of the window to look at that last ivy leaf, and she asked her whether she did not wonder why that ivy leaf didn't flutter, didn't move along with the wind. That's Behrman's masterpiece. He painted it the night the last leaf fell. So she said that it is the masterpiece of an old painter, Behrman, and he had painted that leaf the night the last leaf fell. So I hope you have understood the lesson. Now this lesson tells us that in any circumstances we should not lose hope. We should have hope all the time. So if we lose hope, even if the condition is good, nothing good happens. So always we should be hopeful. It also tells about the friendship. So how Sue tried to motivate Johnsy, how she tried to bring her out of her depression. So that is the theme of this lesson. I hope you have understood. Thank you.